There's a certain appeal to romance animes, being a fly on the wall, watching the relationship between two people develop into something more, or rooting for them to succeed and just being happy at the end of the show. And being able to introduce the idea of combining romance with other genres, and you can either create the most wholesome show with the most like heartwarming high points to the developing relationship, or one with nail-biting tension as they struggle to express their emotions to each other and possibly doubt the idea of being in a relationship in the first place. You want that heartwarming feeling that comes with two people discovering love for the first time? Add some slice of life to it and you can just sit back and relax. You want that drama that comes with a developing relationship? Well, there's a genre probably called drama that can add some spice to it. Hell, you just want to laugh at two people fumbling their way into holding hands with each other? Romance comedies got that on lock. My overall point is that a romance genre and an anime can be combined with other genres, either as the primary genre of the show or a secondary genre when combined with the aforementioned examples, or something like Isekai or harem. Sounds like a winning formula, doesn't it? Well, Domestic Kanojo would like to prove you wrong. Yo, so it's 1 past midnight. Look at that. That is a Phantom Thief. Yeah, you can't see it, but that is a Phantom Thief RGB lighting. Don't worry about that. But I just want to say, before we get into this video, again, I'm going to sound like a cringy fucking YouTuber. I understand, but before we get into it, just like, comment, sub. As you can see, I'm starting now. My first video was about Kaiji. If you want to go check that out, it's a bit of a long one. I'm going to be honest. It's again my first one. This one's my second one about domestic girlfriend. My second video. It's gonna be shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're watching this, if you're just seeing me for the first time, it's gonna be shit. But hopefully you'll enjoy this fucking dumpster fire of script writing and editing video thing about fucking dumpster fire of anime. Again, like, comment, sub, and if you have an anime or even a manga that you want me to check out, just let me know down below. Let me know down below, fuck's sakes. But just let me know. I'm down to just read, watch anything, and if I find it interesting enough, I'll happily write a script. So again, sit back, relax, and hope you can deal with this bullshit of a video. Deuces. Domestic Girlfriend is a romance/drama anime released back in the winter of 2019, 5 years ago. Don't worry, that's not you getting older, you were just imprisoned because of that spicy coughing virus that's going around a few years ago. With a rating of 6.6 on my anime list, it seems has cemented the anime's somewhat short existence with nothing but infamy, and has placed the anime's viewership into two separate camps. You either think the show's good, or you'd rather gouge your eyes out with a sepsis-covered plastic fork you found in the back of an alley. We immediately start the show with our main character Natsuo Fuji and Rui Tachibana, the first of the two main female protagonists. Now, being a romance anime, you'd think they meet in some orthodox way, maybe being like childhood friends, or one being a transfer student to another school, right? Well, you watch too much romance animes because the show introduces them as being each other's first time in a one night stand. In other words, they were fucking. Now, it's not like Natsuo just fucked a random stranger. Well, it's exactly like that, but there is some backstory to it. After fighting with Rui, Natsuo hits up his friend Fumiya Korimoto and explains how he got into that situation. Natsuo went to a mixer with his friends and bonded with Rui over their mutual awkwardness. Rui in turn asked Natsuo for sex as a favour because she lacked the experience and hoped that her friends treated her with some level of respect after. After feeling like she hasn't changed at all, Rui parts ways with Natsuo, leaving him unsatisfied because the experience hasn't taken his mind off Hina. Hina is the second female protagonist. She's Natsuo's teacher and love interest. However, she's also in a relationship with someone else, leaving Natsuo heartbroken knowing that his love is unrequited. Around halfway through the first episode, Natsuo's dad, Akihito Fuji, is seen talking with someone over the phone. We later learn that person over the phone is a lady friend, and he's planning to marry said lady friend after his wife Jun died. After another phone call, Natsuo meets his stepmother/mother-in-law Sukiko, as well as her two daughters, Rui and Hina Tachibana. Living on the same roof with your first time and your unrequited love. Did I mention that love polygon is a theme that the show uses? Now, the question you might ask is, why did the characters let their parents marry each other? And the reason's kinda wholesome. According to Lui, Tsukiko's ex-husband was having an affair, which put her in a negative mood, but after meeting Akihito, she changed for the better. After that meeting, nothing interesting happens really. Just normal things such as moving houses, Natsuo, Hina and Rui getting familiar with each other as siblings, and Natsuo trying to kiss a sleeping Hina and getting caught by Rui before their lips touch. You know, normal stuff that happens when remarrying. After that, we get a small insight to Rory's personality when she transfers to Natsuo and Hina's school, a socially awkward girl with no people skill and someone who struggles to make friends. But she does have a sense of humour, being a straight man to the joke and using snarky jabs as punchline to Natsuo's attempt as a social coach. Overall, it works out quite well as her classmates find the small skit funny and she was grateful for Natsuo's help. However, this sweet atmosphere doesn't last long, as Rory confronts Natsuo kissing Temp in the bathroom, don't question it, as well as talking about Hina and her boyfriend, who are going through a rough patch in their relationship, which is further shown when her boyfriend Shuo Hagiwara falls Hina and she comes back with tears. Going to the only person who can vent about this problem, Natsuo goes to Fumiya's workplace, a coffee shop called Lamont, run by Masaki Maria Kobayashi, where Fumiya mentions an office lady having an affair with a married man, which is confirmed to be Hina not long after Natsuo and Fumiya walk back home. Once back home, Natsuo confronts Hina and kisses her, to which she responds by dismissing, slapping, kissing, and attempting to fuck Natsuo in that order, until she gets off him and says that he's afraid. Natsuo's solution? Leaving a note saying that he won't be home for a while and going to crash at Fumiya's place, because running away from your problems and making everyone worry about your health and safety always works. Fumiya suggests to write something like a novel, allowing Natsuo to continue his development of becoming a novelist while taking his mind off the situation. A few days later, Rory finds Natsuo and decides to take a page of his novel, pun intended, and crash at Fumiya's place as well, as a sign of boycotting the affair and being dismissed by Hina a while ago when she first confronted Hina's affair and Hina ignored her, saying that she's not experienced love yet. Fumiya, being the only voice of reason, states that they can't stay here forever and gives Natsuo and Rory a kick up the arse by helping them plan a way for Hina's affair to end. Returning home after 2 days and stopping their parents' world record at the 80% divorce speedrun category, the two siblings decide to act on their plan. After failing to collect intel whilst following Hina and trying to call Shu on Hina's phone, Natsuo, Fumiya and Rory all regroup at Lamont, where Hina and Shu both enter, exposing the affair. After a small confrontation where Shu explains why he's in the affair in the first place, Hina breaks off the affair, citing family first, and the problem seems to just solve itself. Don't question about this. You learn that about the anime, you just don't question anything. A few days later, the show decides to introduce Momo Kashirabara, a bubbly and airheaded yet academically gifted girl who has a hobby of making dolls for her friends, which might be a sign of a psychopath, but who am I to judge? In the school, however, she's envied by the other girls as she's been in a lot of relationship, according to her, 30, which causes her to be considered a scat by her classmates. Momo meets Natsuo in a bookstore and becomes attracted to him because of his maxed out charm and kindness skills. She even asks Rory for permission to go into a relationship with him as she assumes they're both friends, which Rory kinda gives her blessing to in like a non-direct way. Natsuo and Momo get close to each other and unsurprisingly Momo invites Natsuo to her room, which Natsuo accepts the invitation, hoping that it would help him get over his feelings for Hina. However, things go a bit sideways when Natsuo sees signs of self-harm on Momo's wrist, which she made after being in abusive relationships. Instead, their relationship stays as friends and Natsuo decides to make some food for Momo, which is only generally the only good thing he does throughout the show. He's a piece of shit for character, but that's the one thing he's done that's pretty good. Now that Momo's screen time came and went like my will to live when I was first born, yes, this is a cry for help. The show introduces 2 new characters in the next episode. Our first character, Leiji Kilia, alias Ryo Hasekawa, a professional author and a modern Japanese teacher at Natsuo's school. Also a teacher he's not trying to fuck, surprisingly. And later he becomes Natsuo's tutor in novel writing. He also monitors the literature club at school. I mention this because after meeting Kilia, Natsuo was approached by Roy, who wants to tour around the school and join the club. Both decide to join on the literature club. Roy because Natsuo was joining the club, and Natsuo because he was caught for taking a book out of the club by Kilia. In the literature club is our second character, Miu Asihara, is current president and its only member. She, like Natsuo, is an aspiring writer and would do anything to make her writing better, such as offering Natsuo to kiss her, which Kilia said so, because of research, and I guess they had adult supervision, so it's kinda fine. Kinda. To mention that Roy will join the club, Momo, deciding that she didn't have enough screen time, also joins the club, and Roy becomes visibly anxious of Natsuo's developing harem, going to Lamont where she consults with Maria, who explains through his backstory that Roy might be in love. Meanwhile, as a reward for keeping the affair secret, Hina takes Natsuo on a date. Yeah, this is gonna go well, isn't it? It's gonna go well. The date goes surprisingly smoothly, with Hina and Natsuo enjoying the time with each other, going to tourist landmarks, even being mistaken for a couple by a cafe worker, which Hina denies immediately. But since the show needs some sort of constant drama between the characters, the day ends with Natsuo asking Hina for her reason for having an affair, despite their mum divorcing their then dad for the same reason. Hina reveals that Shu was a teacher at her school who helped her get through a rough time, and then bumped into him later during her time at college. Natsuo, having impeccable timing, confesses to Hina and gives her his now completed novel, and Hina, being the responsible and mature adult the show makes her out to be, decides to walk with Natsuo into the sea, trying to kill both of them. Because in Hina's words, if they were found out, they'd have to throw everything away, including their family and place in society, which, according to her, is the same as a double suicide. Makes sense. Their day ends on a somber note, with Natsuo hugging Hina, knowing that he can never be truly in a relationship with her, and Hina reading Natsuo's novel, only writing thank you to him on a piece of paper. From then, life just goes on like normal, only for Rory to come into Natsuo's room one night, asking him to kiss her, with Natsuo trying to play the sibling card to no avail, and they both agree that they'll kiss each other every now and then, in private. Again, from here, nothing too interesting happens. Roy and Natsuo exams come up and both ask Hina to tutor them at home, where Roy brings up Natsuo spending more time with Miu, until the end, where Natsuo catches Hina pleasuring herself while saying Shu's name. I don't think I can show this on YouTube, but it happens. It happens. Fuck this show. Now being in a summer break, Natsuo goes back to school to focus writing on his novel, where he meets a new character, again. This time an American of Japanese descent named Alex J. Masakara, which the fandom's page describes his personality as much like all Americans. Was being dim-witted and a bit of a liar, he does have a good side, helping Natsuo stop an underwear thief after going to Le Mans. He's also introduced to Roy by Natsuo was at the police station and asked Natsuo to help set him up with Roy, which Roy hates the idea of and turns it down. After making up but making out, both siblings get caught kissing by Hina. Roy goes to reconcile with Hina, who also plays his sibling card, much like Natsuo. After confiding with Alex, who is a bit sad that Roy rejected him, Natsuo goes to Hina's room and explains why he kissed Roy, despite not liking her romantically. Hina ends this conversation short by announcing that she's going to move out, making Natsuo and Roy feel responsible for her decision, despite saying that it wasn't their fault. To spend more time as a family, Akihito says that they should go to a local festival, where Natsuo confronts Hina again. Yes, there's a lot of confrontation in this anime, and you won't realize this. He says that she's moving out for her own sake as well as Natsuo's sake. After walking away and being caught by Maria, the two siblings confront each other again, where Hina explains her jealousy over Roy's free spirit and why she wants to move out. However, after seeing them kiss, Hina's jealousy was cranked to the max and she spills out her true feelings for Natsuo. At the end of the festival, we see that they both agree to be in a relationship whilst keeping a secret from their family, Rory included. Having the relationship now established in the series, Hina still decides to move out as she wants to try and live by herself, as well as making it easier for her and Natsuo to keep their relationship a secret from everyone, going so far to give Natsuo a spare key to her apartment. Meanwhile, Rory is still down in the dumps because of Hina's decision to move out. Taking advice from her mum, she has a walk around town, going to the bookstore, where she meets Killia and another familiar face, Shu, who is revealed to be Killia's underclassman back at college. To reconcile with each other, Shu takes Rory to Le Mans, where she reveals that he got a divorce from his wife and will no longer try to contact Hina again. From there, their meeting goes smoothly really, and Shu gives advice to Rory after she explains Hina's situation on moving out. With this advice, Rory goes to Hina's room and pleads her to not move, saying that she will feel lonely without her, and going so far as to bury her emotions to Natsuo if it will make Hina stay. Hina explains that Rory doesn't have to change anything, and that she will try to visit the family whenever she can. After getting Hina settled in her new place and comforting Rory over Hina's decision to move out, Natsuo goes to spend the evening at Hina's place, using the excuse of staying at Fumiya's. Here we see the couple getting more romantic, but Hina still doesn't want Natsuo to rush things in their relationship, which makes Natsuo feel insecure, but is then reassured by Hina at school, where they share a kiss. They want to keep the relationship a secret, but they will kiss at the school. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't. For a couple of days, nothing too interesting happens. Natsuo and Hina keep the relationship a secret whilst the school has the annual festival, and the literature club, who now gained Alex as another member, because how else can he be relevant in this series, keep writing novels and short stories under Kiria's guidance, who at this point has been ill for a couple of days. Because of his prolonged absence, Natsuo, Rui and Mio goes to a surprisingly lavish apartment, where Kiria reveals his alias of Yu Hasakawa. Also, he advertises an award show from his literacy magazine to the trio, which Natsuo jumps at the offer. Going back to school the next day, Natsuo teases Mio over their visit, as the editor for Kiria was there and Mio thought that was his significant other. Natsuo, because of the season, receives a fractured leg as a reward, which is honestly the best thing that's happened to this character. After being visited by Hina, Roy expresses how happy she is about Natsuo's condition, as she will spend more time at home with her than going to Fumiya's place. After an apology from Mio at school and some more bathroom fiasco in Natsuo, Roy goes to Lama, where she notifies Fumiya of Natsuo's situation, to which he is confused because Fumiya doesn't know that Natsuo has used him as an scapegoat so that he can go and visit Hina, which is true friendship right there. Roy goes back home to confront Natsuo about this lie, to which he lies even more by saying that he was going to Momo's place instead and use Fumiya as an excuse. But it gets better, as he tells Roy directly to her face in the club room that he's going to Fumiya's place to apologize to him, but goes to Hina's. This, surprisingly, backfires, as Roy goes to Hina's place after going to Fumiya's, catching him in the lie and running away. Chasing after her and getting a well-deserved slap for his effort, Natsuo finally confesses to Roy that he loved Hina for a long time. After having one last kiss coming home, Roy bluntly tells Natsuo that she will start to dislike him in order to protect herself and to make herself feel better after that bombshell, which seems to extend to Hina, as she hasn't replied to any of Hina's messages. By this point, Natsuo's leg has healed and two new announcements are made: a school trip to Okinawa, which is typical, and the winner of the award show mentioned before, which is Roy Tachibana. Though Natsuo doesn't take this too well, and after confiding Mio, goes to Kiria's place and asks to be an apprentice under him, which gets shot down after Kiria tells Natsuo a new one about his intention of being a person with the title of a novelist rather than actually writing novels. Natsuo takes his advice to heart and starts to write short stories in genres he has never done before, every week for Kiria to criticize. After a few weeks of novel writing, the class goes to Okinawa, where Hina confronts Roy about her relationship with Natsuo. On their last day, Natsuo asks to meet Hina privately in her room, where Hina tries to break up with Natsuo, and Natsuo wants to get more serious, putting a cheap ring he bought at a gift shop on her finger. In the end, Natsuo wins, and they finally do the deed. What a way to end the trip, especially after someone takes a picture of them kissing and the school finds out about their relationship. Fucking bravo, well done. Christ. After a small confrontation between Hina and the school, Hina comes up with a solution. Well, an ultimatum. Leaving the school to protect Natsuo, as a prize for both Natsuo and Roy, who is now on better terms with her two siblings. From here, Hina goes completely off the grid, leaving her new apartment and only calling her parents once when she's moved into another one. Now going through the 5 stages of grief while holed up in his bedroom, Natsuo is visited by Fumiya, who berates him for the way he's acting when Hina did everything to protect him. To get over this situation, Natsuo writes one more novel about his situation, not leaving his room and only being given food from Roy and motivation from Malia when he met him at a bathhouse. All whilst his parents regret the decision of being remarried after they found out that the two children were having an affair. Finally coming out of his room on New Year's Day and making everyone worry sick, the family goes to the local temple where they meet the rest of the club and later go to Kiria's place where he reads Natsuo's now completed novel. A week later, Natsuo revisits Kiria where he meets Sojiro Tatsuya, a self-proclaimed kidnapper and a staff member at the Shinkosai Library Department, who takes him to a literacy award because Kiria submitted that piece of work. To his surprise, Natsuo won and proclaims his dreams of becoming a novelist. Coming back home, Natsuo finds Hina standing there, only for it to be revealed that it was Roy wearing a wig. After explaining how she realized how Hina felt was being held by Natsuo, Roy decides to not hold back herself for Hina and goes after him. Roll the title card as we see shots of Hina at her new teaching job with short hair and possessing the ring that Natsuo gave to her at Okinawa and a copy of his novel which was published after the award. Now, there's a lot that the anime has done that makes me wish I was lobotomized 10 times over after watching it, but I'll do my best to keep it short to 2 points. which not like I'm going to keep that promise if you look how long the script is. The first are the characters, and the only good character out of the whole show is Fumiya, Natsuo's best friend. Throughout the show, we see Fumiya caring for Natsuo and having his best interests at heart, from giving advice from when the siblings were at his house trying to figure out a way to stop Peanut's affair, to again housing Natsuo when he ran away like the little fucking child he is. Out of all of the show's character, to me, he's like the most level-headed and it's kind of well written, having just enough input to help like push the story while not taking the spotlight off Natsuo, Roi, Hina. I can even overlook like how jealous he gets to Natsuo from being like in a relationship with older women, which is something that Fumiya also wants. Then you get the three siblings, and I'll put it bluntly, Hina's a bitch, Natsuo's brain dead, and Roi would have been a solid character if this was anything but an incest anime. I'll put Natsuo on the chopping block first, since he's, like the main focal point of the anime. To put it simply, he thinks with his dick and not with his head, and like that's all to his character. There's no like substance to the character. All the other characters had like more of an input to the show than he did. I'm convinced you can take Natsuo out of being like the main character. You can just take him out of that position and just have him as a side character, and just have the show focus more on Hina and Roi, and nothing will change. Even if you get rid of the idea of him being related to Hina and Roi, nothing will still change. He will still be some fucking bland think with his dick character. Then you get to Hina. Now, at the start, Hina seemed like a somewhat interesting character, which is a low bar for the show to clear. Being shown to have an affair and not caring about what Natsuo thinks or what Roi thinks, only having an affair because she's truly in love with the person, and again, true love knows no boundaries, some bullshit like that. Then she's now interested in Natsuo after breaking off the affair, and after watching him and their sister kiss each other, decides to go try and fuck Natsuo herself. We see this again near the end, where she tries to break off the relationship between her and Natsuo like an actual mature person, someone who understands the consequence of being in a relationship with an underage person, especially that person is your own student. Only then she gives in, gets caught, and has to leave everyone behind to start a new life. They took that somewhat interesting aspect of a character and threw it away, just to create more tension and drama between the main characters and maybe help push the story along. It doesn't make sense. Next is Rui, who is honestly the best character out of the core three. Yeah, she does some weird stuff like fucking a stranger, but who hasn't? But of all the core characters, she's the most faithful to Natsuo. She doesn't look for other guys to get with, going so far to completely shoot down Alex before meeting him, and after Natsuo reveals his feelings to Hina, she doesn't initiate any romantic stuff between her and Natsuo, going so far to try and dislike Natsuo for her own emotional protection. Out of all the three main characters, she's like the only one who understands her situation. She understands like that Natsuo does not love her and that he loves someone else, and she understands that she needs to take a step back and not like try to force her love onto him. Somehow they made Rui, the socially awkward teenager, more mature than Hina, than an actual adult. They got it backwards. Now the side characters, they exist. That's a good thing. They exist, but they don't do anything. Apart from Fumiya, who I just mentioned, and possibly Kiliya, as he helped Natsuo try to find his like reason to become a novelist. Mariek might be an exception as well, because he helps Rui and Natsuo from time to time, but no one else kind of like does anything for the series. Momo, Mui, Alex, the other person who works at Lamont that I didn't mention throughout the whole script, because again, she's pointless. She just exists. The parents, they appear for a couple episodes just to like do some family stuff, but no one brings anything to the table. Only just 3 people max, which is really horrible for the amount of like characters they introduce, especially how like quickly they introduce throughout the series. You'd think like if they're going to introduce a lot of those characters like back to back quite quickly, you think they'd keep them for a while to like help maybe add some bit more drama. Like maybe they could have done something a bit more with Momo or Mio. Maybe Alex, they could have done something with Alex trying to get with Rui, like time, try to like pester Rui to get into a relationship. Again, for like the 12 episodes, just having that many characters is like, for 22 episodes every minute, is not enough to like develop the other characters like personalities and like the connection to the main characters. It's just not enough. They just exist. The second point is the ending. What the fuck is that ending? I'll start with the photo that got taken. Now, I'm gonna sound like I wear a tinfoil hat for a living. I don't. I wear a mask for a living instead. But who took that incriminating photo? How did they do it? And why? Throughout the Okinawa trip, there's not one person who had some reason to expose their relationship. We already established that Lori reconciled with Hina at the beach, and she explicitly said that she doesn't want Hina and Natsuo to break up. Kilia was lasting on the beach, and he just doesn't give a fuck. Same thing with the literature pit club. They took a page out of my dad's book by just leaving and not coming back for the rest of the episode. And again, none of the other characters are developed well enough, or are there at Okinawa, to do something. So who took the picture? Then the actual angle of the picture shows that it was taken above and to the right. So unless the hotel is some weird U shape or H shape, they would have taken the picture on a building next to the hotel, and that is higher than the hotel, which the show shows that there isn't any. So how did they take the photo? Last is why. Hina seems to be respected in her field. The other teachers respected her and her students respected her. Natsuo, on the other hand, didn't seem to have any issues with anyone. He didn't have any beef. So why would someone want to expose their relationship? What would they gain from it? I'm talking about this because the show just, to me, the show seemed like they just wanted an excuse to add some more drama just right at the end. There's no build up to it. It's just, oh, now they get caught cheating. There's no build up to it. There's nothing it's not like people slowly start to figure out they were in a relationship. It's not again, any of the other characters snitched on them. No one said anything. They kept the relationship quite a secret from everyone, according to the show. How does someone know? Why did they do it? And how did they do it? The show never answered any of it. They just it just happens and they move on. Then the actual ending with the title card. I get Hina moving away to get a new job as a teacher. Obviously, their relationship got exposed. She couldn't teach there anymore since she might have a bias towards Natsuo. But why did she cut everyone off? It's including her parents. It's not like her parents are obligated to make both all their children talk to each other. All Hina could have done is just call her mom, call her dad every once in a while, be like, hey yo, I'm alive. You want to just tell the other two that I'm alive? Yeah, sure, we got you, fam. Don't worry. Just chill, live your life a bit. That would have just maybe once a week, once a month if she wants to go really far. Just that simple phone call could just again keep Natsuo and Rui somewhat in contact with Hina whilst not, and just calm their nerves. But she doesn't. She just cuts everyone off, goes off the grid. Fuck you, everyone. I'm gone. Bye. It doesn't make sense. And why does she keep the ring Natsuo gives her? I get buying the book with Natsuo's novel. It's that's the way I see it. It's a way for her to support Natsuo in the shadow without exposing herself. She doesn't have to go to any bookstore to meet him, get an autograph, something like that. She can just buy the books, keep them on the shelf. Even if she doesn't read it, Natsuo will get some sort of profit from her buying the book. So I get her buying that book. That's fine. It's the ring I'm confused about. Again, as I mentioned, she cut everyone off. Parents, Natsuo, Rui, probably other co-workers. So unless she's planning to go back with the intention to go back into a relationship with Natsuo, why not just throw the ring away? I mean, she kind of did that with Shu, not throw a ring away, but she kind of just threw the relationship away once their affair got found out and she broke it off. But then straight after that, she moved to Natsuo. So why can't she do the same? Because she's in love? She said that she's in love with Shu. And then she broke the relationship off again. For one, repeat myself, she broke the relationship off and went with Natsuo, and then she fell back in love. So why can't she do the same? Why can't she just throw the ring away, break up? Obviously, the relationship's now broken up, but just forget about Natsuo, find someone else, and then just repeat the cycle until she finds that one person who she can stay with. It doesn't make sense. For some reason, only Natsuo gets a special treatment and not anyone else. Now, to all the hardcore incest enjoyers out there, I can probably guess what you're thinking right now. Go read the manga, you stupid fuck, it makes more sense there. And yeah, that's about the point. Most shows cut out all that fluff in the manga to make it more simple and linear show that can fit in the standard 22-ish, 23-minute per episode show. here's my rebuttal to your point. I just don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck. I didn't connect with the characters. I didn't like the writing of the show. Fucking hell, I don't like the weird incest triangle Illuminati bullshit that the anime tries to push. I don't care about this series. Fuck knows how many mangas are out there on the internet. And I would rather waste my time reading those mangas, sink 150 chapters in there, realize it's a waste of time. I'd rather do all that than go read the manga for Domestic Girlfriend and find out why Hina did all of that stuff and what happened after. I already hate this show. I don't want to spend more time thinking about it. I don't want it to be in my head rent free. It can fuck off for all I care. Now, the main question I was asking myself throughout watching this dumpster fire of a show was writing the script. Why? Why would you watch this show in the first place? Well, for starters, you could be a degenerate like my brother, who I'm slowly regretting I met, SpeedyBoy696, who describes it as...
It's basically a hentai about the sex.
I mean, there's probably a lot of hentai out there, a lot of incest hentais out there, which are better than this fucking dumpster fire bullshit thing. But I can see the point. If you just want to watch people fuck, weirdly, with just like drama sprinkled in between, then by all means, go watch the show. I guess if the hentai doesn't... If you want something a bit softer than hentai, with all of the incest and the drama and all that, the show's perfect for you, mate. Fucking go for it. But if you wanted to watch this like a normal anime, for some reason, you should probably get yourself checked out. But if you want to watch this like a normal anime, then all I can say is that you'll like it because it's a fucking train wreck. It's a train wreck. You should probably look away from it, but you can't. You probably should just click off the episode and go watch like something good, like another good anime or just like a YouTube video or stream. You should click off, but you stay instead. You stay because you think this can't get any worse, and it does. Every time you think it doesn't get any worse, it gets worse. And that's how I felt when I was watching the show. I was playing video games. I had YouTube open on my second monitor, or I just had my friend's Discord stream open as well, playing in the background as I watched this fucking dumpster fire of a show. I could have just gone and just focused on the video or the stream or the game. I could have just clicked off and gone. I could just close the tab and gone and done something I enjoy. But I didn't, because I kept getting attracted to the ever-growing dumpster fire fucking thing known as Domestic Girlfriend. It attracted me in like a weird, somewhat masochistic way, I want to say, and I was able to tolerate it somehow. Maybe because I wasn't completely focused on it. Again, I had things in the background I was, somewhat focused on. But for the parts I was focused on, it was enough to keep me entertained throughout this whole journey. It had enough entertainment for me to write this fucking script, which is impressive. Domestic Girlfriend is shit. The 6.6 rating on Mal seems like it's been inflated by people who are just way too horny for their own good. The writing, the pacing, shit. The characters, not enjoyable at all. And I felt my brain cells hanging themselves with my nervous system every fucking time that Thor made the dumbest, idiotic, Neanderthal-like fucking decision known to planet Earth. He made a lot, and it's a miracle I'm alive. But I think that's the appeal for most people. If you have read or watched a lot of romantic stuff, then my advice to you is don't go into the show thinking you'll have the same experience. You're not. You're gonna fucking hate the show. But if you're somewhat mentally stable to deal with Domestic Girlfriend's antics, then it becomes a weirdly enjoyable show. Yes, it's still shit. Yes, you're gonna hate it. But you'll enjoy it the same way you might enjoy cringing at an old video. There's a lot of moments where you get that feeling of just wanting to look away and just go watch something else. But if you can just toughen out and make it through this fucking train wreck of a 12 episode anime, you will find something that is somewhat enjoyable in its own unique way. Don't get me wrong. Domestic Girlfriend is one of the worst animes I have ever laid my eyes upon. But if you took all the animes I've hated from when I first started watching Ori up to now, lined them all up, and told me to watch one of them, it would have to be Domestic Girlfriend. It's the best of the worst, and I'm okay with that.